so you should be able to see yourself live. We should be live now.
Live.
You're going live?
I don't see it yet.
It says live.
Yes, sir.
Just won't see how to.
You see it?
Good. That's working.
Yep.
You guys just.
What's that? Hey everyone, Pastor David here. Good to see you. I'm here with Susie McKenzie from Eagles Nest Ranch, and we'll be talking with her quite a bit this evening. And remember, if you're online, and a couple things to remember. Number one, if you're online and you are on our Facebook group, anytime you make a comment, make sure you let us know who you are, because we won't see your name. Yeah, you have to mute that. And second thing is, don't forget, if you have any questions, to make sure to put them in the comments. Any questions for me, or as we get going, any questions for Susie, so that we can get those questions asked. We don't have any questions yet, so unless you ask a question, Susie's going to talk the entire time. All right, here we go. We're going to start with the good stuff, with the fun stuff anyway. On this day, in April 30th, I cannot believe tomorrow is May already.
I know.
This is the last day of April, in case you weren't paying attention. It's just been Groundhog Day for you. On this day, April 30th, in 1250, King Louis IX of France was ransomed for $1 million. You think about that, $1 million in 1250 is a lot of coin.
Wow.
I know I'm not worth that much money. 1789, George Washington took office as the first elected U.S. president. In 1803, the U.S. purchased the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million, and thank goodness they did, otherwise there'd be no Colorado. In 1812, Louisiana was admitted as the 18th U.S. state. In 1900, Hawaii was organized as an official U.S. territory, although I don't remember, do you know when they were brought into the Union? So if you know when they were brought into the Union, they were made a territory in 1900, somebody will go look it up. By the way, hi Bruce, hi Brenda, and hi Kelly. So far, those are the people who have said hi. 1945, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide. They'd been married, I didn't know this part, they'd been married for one day, and then 1 week later, Germany surrendered unconditionally. I didn't know they got married for one day and then committed suicide. I'd assumed they'd been married a lot longer than that. 1952, Mr. Potato Head, Jake, do you know who Mr. Potato Head is? Became the first toy to be advertised on network television. I did not know that.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah. 1964, the FCC ruled that all TV receivers should be equipped to receive VHF and UHF channels. Now I know this for a fact. You have no idea what a UHF or VHF channel is, do you, Jake? Jake's just sitting over there. You do though.
Yes, I do.
And you see, Jake, we used to have to be the remote control. In VHF, there were only, in Colorado, there were like 4 channels. And so it was a simple, UHF had like 800 channels. And if you went past RTV, if you went past, you couldn't go backwards. So you had to go all the way back around. That's real life problems, Jake. You don't understand. And in 2012, One World Trade Center became the tallest structure in New York when it surpassed the height of the Empire State Building. Interesting fact there. All right, here's our funny of the day. It's called driving test. All right, let's see. Some people have said hi. My mom said hi. That's good. And my wife said hi. Hi, babe. All right, a teenage boy had just passed his driving test and asked his dad if he could start using the family car. The dad said he'd make a deal with his son. You bring your grades up from a C to a B average, study your Bible a little, and get your hair cut, then we'll talk about the car. The boy thought about that for a moment, decided he'd settle for the offer, and they agreed on it. About 6 weeks later, the dad said, son, you've brought your grades up, and I've observed that you've been studying your Bible, but I'm disappointed that you haven't had your hair cut.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the boy said, you know, Dad, I've been thinking about that, and I've noticed in my studies of the Bible that Samson had long hair, John the Baptist had long hair, Moses had long hair, and there's even strong evidence that Jesus had long hair. And his dad replied, did you also notice that they all walked everywhere that they went?
There you go.
That's right. Yeah, they cut the hair, you get the car. All right, so just making sure we don't have any other comments, and we don't, so it's good to see everyone this evening. And Chip just walked in. Everyone say hi, Chip. All right, so we're going to talk to Susie McKenzie. Susie McKenzie is the director. You're officially the director, right? Is that your title?
Executive director.
Executive director. I didn't want to demote you there. Of Eagles Nest Ranch, which is just down the road a little bit. You guys just relocated, which I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about because we got some projects going on related to that. So Susie, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and a little bit about a bit about Eagles Nest Ranch, what you guys do, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate it, and for Pinecrest being a supporting church of Eagles Nest Ranch. We appreciate that. So I grew up in Ohio and went to Moody Bible Institute.
Oh.
I was a missionary in South America over a 14-year period.
Oh, wow.
In
Multiple countries?
Peru, in the Amazon jungle of Peru.
Oh, wow.
For 7 years, and then on the northern coast of Colombia for 3 years, and that was with South America Mission.
All right.
And yeah, I've always had a passion for serving people.
For mission work, clearly.
Yeah, missionary work, and I do miss it. I enjoyed living in the jungle, and then being up on the northern coast of Colombia was a totally different environment and culture than being out in the jungle. But I enjoyed both very much, and serving the Lord in that capacity. But as a child, I always had a passion for horses. And I always had a passion to help people. And
There's probably a few people watching who have a passion for horses as well.
yeah, I hope so.
It's a thing in this area, that's for sure.
It's a thing in this area, thankfully so. But yeah, so I had horses off and on in my life, and actually my first horse was one that I worked for. I was 12 years old and wanted a horse, so I called around.
Did you get your hair cut, study the Bible, get your grades up?
No, I didn't do that. Didn't do that.
Work worked.
But I did. I worked hard for about 4 or 5 months to at this horse stable. If you worked for the summer, your pay was a horse.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the summer, for a 12-year-old girl,
That's quite the payment.
that was quite the payment. Although we worked very hard, and so that's how I got my first horse. And her name was Buttercup.
Oh.
She was a great first horse. But so anyway, all through my life, I've just had that passion for horses, and just enjoyed being with them and riding them and that kind of thing. So then later, the Lord called me into missionary work and serving Him in that way. And so
Had to leave the horses behind for a little
I
bit.
had to. Well, yes, but I did get a horse when I was in Peru in the jungle.
Wow.
So I had a Peruvian Paso horse there in the jungle. And this, when I say jungle, like I was married at the time, and we were way out there on the tributary of the Amazon.
Wow.
The name of the river was the Ucayali River. And so the only way to get there was either to go by float plane, and where you land on the river,
yeah.
or to go on a river boat, which was about three days. 3 days. And so we'd send our supplies that way and everything. And anyway, I got a horse, sent her down on the riverboat.
Oh, wow, on the riverboat.
to the little town we lived in. And so I used to ride her out in the jungle, on the jungle trails.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Very cool. So how did Eagles Nest Ranch get started?
So anyway, ended up in Colorado, and
Fast forward a few years. Right?
several years. Missionary work now is behind me, but the passion to serve people was always there. So I worked here in Denver. I worked for a nonprofit, a human services agency, and did that for a while. But then a friend gave me a copy of the book called Hope Rising, which is written by Kim Meter. And this is from Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch. And I'm probably going to start crying.
No, that's okay. Our Kleenex is way over there. So
well,
I
brought a piece.
Oh, you've got some. All right, you're prepared.
Because it's rare that I can talk about the ranch and Crystal Peaks without it bringing, a lot of emotion. So anyway, the book is Hope Rising, and Kim Meter is the author, and it's about a ranch in Oregon that serves children. So children that have been through tough times, and so what they do is they pair children with a neglected or abused horse. So it's a ministry using horses to help children.
Gotcha.
And so the book is filled, each chapter is a story of how a horse impacted the life of a child.
Wow.
And I read that book and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can match my passion for
Right.
horses with my passion to serve people. And I
Connected two worlds.
connected two worlds, and I was like, this was back in 2008 when I read that
Okay.
book. And so then what I wanted to do was go see Crystal Peaks. So Kim Meter was on Focus on the Family several times, and then her book, people got to read her book, and there was so much interest from the national community about the ranch. People wanted to know, well, how can I do that? How can I start a ranch like that? They had so many inquiries they could not answer them, that they started having a clinic in Oregon. Like, if you really want to hear, you want to learn, then come out to visit us on these dates for a clinic, and we'll tell you about it. So I went in 2008.
How many people were there?
200.
200 people?
Yes, and at that time they did
Wow.
2 clinics in the summer, so that was one of 2. And there was 200 at the one that I went to. Yeah.
I would have thought like 10.
Oh no, that's what I mean, like all the
Wow.
inquiries, yes.
All right.
And they still do those clinics.
It's one thing to inquire, it's something else entirely to fly to Oregon.
Yeah, and stay for a few days, but it was during that time, those days that I was there, that the Lord impressed upon my heart to, yes, go ahead and start this, because I already knew I wanted to. That was like a given.
Right.
I want to do this. But, it was important to me, as a believer, is to follow what God has, and to seek what He has for our life, And so my prayer, because I already knew that I wanted to do this, my prayer when I went was, Lord, would you please just make it clear to me, either a clear yes to move forward in starting a ranch in Colorado, or make it clear to me that no, this is not for you. I have something else for you. And so I went, with that prayer. And I think it was on the second day that I was there, or the third day that I was there. I can't remember which day, but I was back in my hotel room, and I was reading the Bible, and I came across this verse in Philemon, which says, "Take heed to the ministry to which you've been called." Okay.
I'd say that's a pretty clear answer.
That was a very clear answer.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you. So I came back to Colorado and started on the journey to established Eagles Nest Ranch.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Well, and I can tell you, I never thought of myself as a leader or as somebody who would start a non-profit or totally unprepared, in my mind.
I think that's the best way to get started.
Right,
actually.
yeah. Yes.
How long ago was that? So how long ago did Eagles Nest Ranch start?
We started in 2014.
Okay.
So we're going to be 6 years old.
Wow.
So there was a good 6-year time frame of waiting between 2008 and 2014, and that was difficult to just wait and trust the Lord to when the time was right that He would provide what was needed. So we started in Parker at a friend's property, and we had 3 horses and a round pen and $180.
Hey, money in the bank.
We had money in the bank, right? But the Lord provided. I think someone gave us I think it was 240 bales of hay.
Oh wow.
And then the 2 horses came, and I had a horse, and we had 3 horses, and we've been going since then, and the Lord has provided each and every step of the way.
Okay, and we're going to talk about some of that path. Why don't
Yeah.
you let everybody know, and don't forget, if you have a question for me or Susie at any point, put that in the comments. I'll make sure that she gets them. Which let everyone know what Eagles Nest Ranch does specifically. Because they may have an idea, they may have a thought, they probably,
Right.
if they don't know it, they even from your story may have some clue. But I mean, you don't just do one thing. There's one overarching thing, and then there's several programs within that. So why don't you let everyone know exactly what you do.
Yeah, so Eagles Nest Ranch is a safe haven for people and horses, for them to be able to renew trust, renew hope, experience trust and growth in order that they could soar above the adversities of life. And the reason is we have invisible wounds. There's things that happen in life, whether it's trauma or abuse or an experience, or sometimes there's things that happen in our life that are painful, and there's those wounds. There's something that we can't see by looking at each other, right? But they're there, and then they can affect us to where they become an obstacle to move forward to what God has. So what we want to do is let people know that no matter how dark the day is, there's always hope, and that hope is in Jesus. The hope is in Christ. And one of our verses that we have up in the barn says that He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And so we believe that, we stand on that, and we are there at the ranch inviting people to come to have an interactive session with a horse so that we can help them in whatever they're experiencing. And so that's done what we call a session. And what's cool about it is that we don't charge for people to come out, because it is a ministry, so we're not charging for a ministry. So we are funded totally by donations, and that's why I was saying we appreciate that Pinecrest is one of our supporters. And it's people just are so thankful. They thank me, but when they thank me, they're thanking all the people behind us that are making it happen. And so, as you mentioned, we have a few programs that we do. We have first of all is the Soaring program, and this is a program which is non-military, because we have a military program, but the Soaring program is for adults or children who are going through difficulties in life as well. So we have children that maybe parents are going through divorce, or the child has been through some trauma or abuse, or been bullied at school, or having a medical problem or something that they're living with. And so
really any challenge that it could
it could be any challenge, and it could be, like I said, a child or an adult. We serve adults. And
I think we're putting some pictures up of that program right now.
Yes, these are kids that have been through our Soaring program, and along with our horses. And so we do groundwork with them and teach them about horses, but really what we want to do is teach them about the Lord, and that because of Him we can soar above whatever adversity we're facing in life. And so that's the Soaring program. And then we have our military program, which is called the Healing Horses for the Armed Forces program. And that program serves the active duty service member or veterans and their spouse and children. So any family member, and whether they're active duty or they're a veteran, can come to the program.
Okay.
And what's neat is that some of these pictures that you're seeing here are folks from the VA hospital. They're in a supportive program through the VA hospital, and the VA brings them out to the ranch every week, and they're going to be starting that back up in June. So this will be our 4th year that they'll be participating. But we can serve any. We don't have a criteria of that has to be Iraq, Afghanistan. A lot of these men and women that come might be from Vietnam era. So there's not a boundary of when they can come.
And like you said, not just the active military or veteran, but even members of their family who may have struggled because of a family member being in the military or their own, or the effects that they've had of a PTSD or something.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we realize the challenges that our military families face. It's not just the service member that serves; it's the whole family. And so if they come back, especially if they've been in a combat zone, to come back into civilian life and go to a movie or go to a baseball game, it's difficult. Especially those that might have PTSD. And so we sometimes serve the spouses or the children, and sometimes it's the whole family, because the whole family can come out as well. And it's not just folks from the VA; anyone can self-refer. There's not a special channel for people to come in. They just have to contact us through our website, which is eaglesnestranch.org, or we have a Facebook page as well, which is Eagles Nest Ranch, Colorado. They can contact us for that. And then lastly, we also have Buckaroo Days. So we started serving first responder families about 3 years ago. And the Buckaroo Days are when we invite first responder families out to the ranch for a day of fun. And it's one of my favorite things that we do, because we have maybe about 14 families at a time come out with their kids, and they play games, they spend time with their horses, they paint on the horses, they ride the horses. We also do a hay ride. We do crafts and games, and we do a devotional for them as well and provide them lunch. So it's a way that we can say thank you for serving our community. We want to thank you and honor you and have you out to the ranch for a day of fun. And the other thing is, when we think about the military, and we always think about deployments, that they go to Iraq or if they go to Afghanistan or something like that. But every day our law enforcement and our firefighters go out the door.
For sure.
They're going on a deployment, and their family doesn't know what they're going to experience that day or if they're coming home. And so we really appreciate them and know that they too can experience difficulties in their life, in their marriage, and their family, and work because of what they do and what they face each and every day. And so we want to let them know that they are also welcome to come out to Eagles Nest Ranch and receive our services free
Do you
of charge.
get many referrals, I guess, out of Buckaroo Days, where people come back into the soaring program?
Yes, that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing now, because I said, we're just kind of
Buckaroo Days is kind of an introduction.
Correct. And but we have about 40 families that come for the summer for Buckaroo Days. So what we do is 3 separate days. And we do have them scheduled right now for June 27th, July 9th, and I believe it's July 25th. As long as, circumstances with the virus will allow us to hold them, we're still planning on doing that. And there's no charge for them to come out either. We look for sponsors that help with those days. And it's a lot of fun. And now also some of those families have come back to be volunteers. So that's been
Full circle.
full circle. And that's my dog Max. I got to mention good old Max. He was there with the kids too. So
Awesome.
yeah.
We
yeah.
do have one question.
Okay.
Someone asked, Susie, do you have posters of the programs offered to put up in our mailroom?
Of which
Imagine, I mean, all of them.
we have flyers that are general flyers about the program, about all our programs. And, you know, if that person wants to send a message either to me through the Facebook page, I can send you an electronic copy, or we could also get some hard copies. And then the Buckaroo flyers, we do have a flyer for that.
Right.
It's actually, I believe it's on our website now.
Okay.
That could be downloaded on the Buckaroo page.
Yep. So, Brenda, you can go to their webpage and download them, or either get in touch with Susie directly through the Facebook page, or even if you message us, we'll get that to you.
Right.
Don't let the communication stand in the way. If you,
Yeah, it's easy enough to
yeah,
get.
If
Yeah.
you need it, let us know. We'll make sure that
Right.
you get it. Well, I had a question that I was going to ask you. What have been, well, you just speaking about coronavirus and whether, you know, the June 27th, July 9th, those dates are going to happen. And what were the dates again?
June 27th, July 9th, and July 25th.
25th. I think you had July 10th. I want to just make sure we got the right one. In July 25th. So we're going to assume that those things are going on, but before we get that far ahead, what's been the biggest impact for you as a ministry and for the people that you serve with coronavirus? Anyone who sat in that chair, we've asked that question.
Right.
So what's been, and we can imagine what the impact is, but it's better to hear directly what have the impacts been for you as a ministry and for those that you serve.
Well, and we certainly that is something we've been thinking about and talking about, and how can we respond to that, and what can we do. Our normally scheduled time to open for the summer season is May 1st, which you said
be
is
tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? And you know, but there's certain restrictions right now, so we're looking at seeing when some of those restrictions will be lifted, so that we can bring people back out to the ranch, because certainly that is our heart. That is what we want to do. And but what we're doing, another thing that we've decided to do is form what we're calling the Pony Patrol. And the Pony Patrol is where we're going to take our pony Gideon. His name is Gideon. And we have a miniature horse named Hope. And we want to take them out to the community. If we can't have people come to us, then we want to take them out, maybe to visit some hospitals, or to thank all those healthcare workers, because they're, you know, right now they are on the front lines. They're the first responders,
yeah.
first responders as well. Maybe take them to police station, firefighter departments to just thank them for what we're doing, for what they're doing. Maybe a nursing home, that kind of thing. And also, I'd like to take them to visit some of our past participants, some of the kids that we serve, or some of the veterans that we serve. Because some of those veterans that come from the VA hospital do not have their own transportation. So that's, you know, that's another
VA's
thing.
bringing them.
The VA brings them, right? So those are the things we're looking at, and we are putting that program into place now. That's just a brand new thing that we're doing, that as a way to continue to minister, but in a different way, trying to think, you know, well, what can we do differently?
So I know people have heard of, well, I assume people have heard of echoing therapy, and you heard about it, read the book, got involved in it, but you're not talking just about echoing therapy. You're going beyond that, right? So what is I mean, not just beyond that, but you're including a spiritual element in that. Like you
Yes.
stated, our goal is not just the one side of it, but the whole person. Physical, emotional, spiritual side. So what have you seen is the connection between a horse? How does a horse get someone to faith? How does a horse?
Right.
What's the bridge between a horse and Jesus? I guess might be the
yeah,
question.
that's a big leap, right? No, that's an excellent question. And first I want to talk a little bit about horses, but you know, as I said in the beginning, we are a faith-based program. I mean, you know, there's other programs that are out there. But as you mentioned, you know, we have a spiritual component. You know, I think our hearts want to search for the answer of, why am I here? Where did I come from? Where am I going? All those kind of things, Does my life have meaning? And for me, that was a really important aspect of even doing this ministry, is when I was 23, my mother took her life. And so, and as a teenager, just growing up, we believe now, as we look back, one of my brothers actually became a therapist. And looking back, we believe that she was probably bipolar and never treated. And so she struggled quite a bit all through my teenage years, just living with her and living with that, and loved her dearly, and she was just a great mom. She just really struggled with that. So, I don't want to see other people go through that type of thing, or to lose a loved one, or whether it's a family member or a service member themselves, or a law enforcement officer, anybody, a child even, to take their life. And so we want to show them the value that they have. And so getting back to horses, why horses? And one thing we don't often think about is that horses are a prey animal, meaning that they have to watch out for predators. So they are all about survival. They want to make sure that their environment is safe.
Right.
So because of that, and this is what I share with people, how God is the creator of this animal, and He created us. But this animal, He created the horse with the ability to be very tuned to their surroundings. If you watch their ears can move independently. They're like radars listening. They're listening, they're watching. And if you notice with a horse, if you hadn't noticed before, is that their eyes are on the side of their head. So they can see, if on this eye sees all this thing, this other eye sees, so they have quite a vision, because they're looking to survive. And horses live in the moment. Horses don't live in the past. We tend, like we talked about, traumatic events or things that happen or pain that we feel, the horse doesn't live that way. They're living like, what's happening right now?
Right.
And how are you with me right now? And so, and they respond to us because they're so tuned into their surroundings and their environment for survival. Then they can tune into us, and they know, like, if we are scared, if we get jittery or scared about something,
Yep.
then they're like, okay, I should be scared too, because there's something to be scared about, right? Or if someone is really aggressive, then the horse is like, well, I don't know if I really want you to come near me or touch me, or so they give us a lot of feedback to how someone is responding, or how they're behaving and how their energy feels in that surrounding. So then we can use that information.
And you can't fake that.
You can't know. The
We're seeing
horse
through to the real deal.
No, they know. And horses don't lie. That's the thing too. They will always tell you the truth. They're always going to show you what's truth, because they don't know how to lie. They don't. I guess let me just take what they might do is they can be very stoic about their pain, because they don't want to show a predator that they're hurting.
Yes, yeah.
They don't want to show the weakness. So that might be an exception to that. And horses also don't have an agenda. Like when we meet someone, we might be thinking, well, I want to talk to them about this and this and that, or we might look at someone and see what kind of car they drive, or where did they go to school, or what kind of clothes they're wearing, or what family they're from. Horses, it's not about that. It's like I said, how are you with me? Can I trust you? Are you safe? Am I safe with you? Or else they're just neutral about it. And they will let you know. They will let you know when they're scared about something. And so we can use that
And if
information.
you're on them and they do that, you might be the one paying the price. But yeah.
Well,
yeah.
A lot of times, riding horses, a lot of it is about building that relationship with them first.
For sure.
And knowing that they know what's expected of them, and to train them in a safe way,
Yep.
so that getting on their back is no big deal.
Right.
You know, and I have a Mustang named Lucy, and she was very wild when I got her, and you couldn't even go up to catch her. But now I use her with the kids. There was actually a couple of pictures that went by, so it was a lot of time and patience and training, so it can
Yep.
happen. So anyway, let's go back to how does that relate with people. So if someone has, maybe someone has been betrayed, let's say, so some trust has been broken. So now maybe they don't feel like they can trust people in relationships. And, you know, that's understandable if they've been betrayed, right? So then what we can do is help them learn what it is to build a relationship again, and do that with a horse. And to learn to trust the horse, because when you have a 1,100, 1,200 pound animal in front of you, that can be intimidating.
Yep.
You know? But the horse, and this is one of the things that I love about horses, that even though they are a prey animal and they are very big and they're watching out for danger, horses love relationship. Like in the wild, horses are now out lone animals. They live in a herd, they live in a unit, and they rely on each other, they trust each other, they take care of each other. You won't see, like you see sheep, you know, a whole flock of sheep will be laying down. That's why they need a shepherd to watch over them, right? But horses, just a few will lie down, and there'll be some standing up. Then they're the watchman, right? And so if someone's had trouble with trust in their lives, then they can work on building a trust again with an animal. And then maybe then we can bring in trust with God. You know, maybe they feel like that God let them down. Like, why did you let that happen to me? Or, you know, I lost my child, I lost my son, or, you know, whatever it might be, I had that accident. Why, God? And we start talk with them. That gives us opportunity to talk. So if we see that they're having a hard time trusting, then we can talk about that.
Right.
Where is that coming from? How can we help you with that? And they learn to build, maybe if they're not ready to trust people, they can start learning to build trust with a horse.
And so I'm sure that also not only building trust with the horse, and they are doing that, but also with you and the volunteers and staff,
Yes.
who are helping them build that trust with the horse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they're having to learn and trust you,
Yes.
just to not get hurt or to do something stupid.
Right.
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 So they're building trust on both sides of that equation.
And trust to share their story. You know, so that's part of what we do at the ranch. Is we want to make sure, you know, we want to provide a safe environment, because we realize that some of these wounds are very deep. Some of them are sometimes they haven't shared a lot of it with other people, and so being at a ranch, being outdoors in a beautiful place, we're on 40 acres here in Elizabeth, and there's pine trees, it's quiet, there's wildlife, but we also want them to know, you know what, you are safe here. You're safe to cry, you're safe to be angry, you're safe to share your story or not. You know, we don't require them to, but it helps us to know what they've been through, and as time goes on, they do start building that trust with us, so that they feel comfortable sharing their story. And we keep, you know, everything is confidential, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if someone out there, and I think there's two ways for people to get involved, right? So if someone there out watching knows someone who needs help, or they need help, what's the best way for them to get involved?
They can contact us through our Facebook page, or on our website, eaglesnestranch.org. We have a contact us button space. And so a lot of times I get emails. People just email, hey, you know, this is what's going on. We'd like to come out for a session or something like that. So I personally respond to those, and then we just schedule something. So it's a 90-minute time frame that they come for. We always do some chores first, And that's really a good thing, just to get physically active and doing
Yep.
something. And we're doing, we're mucking stalls side by side. I'm
Right.
out there doing that with them, and sometimes the conversation starts there,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I got to talk about something. All right. I don't think about what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, and it's not like, I'm here to help you.
Right.
We're doing this together,
Right.
that kind of thing. And then, so after we do some chores, then we get one of our horses out, and we do a lot of groundwork with them, which means we work with them on the ground. It doesn't mean that everyone rides. It's not about learning how to ride a horse. It's about developing a relationship, a connection with them that later can be transferred to the Lord.
Okay.
As
Now,
well.
how about for those who want to be involved with your ministry as a whole? What are the different ways people can get involved? Someone might ask, well, I'm not that into horses. Can they still be involved? How can they get involved? So what are ways that we can help Eagles Nest Ranch?
That's a wonderful question. I'm so glad you asked because there's lots of ways that people can help. Volunteers, we are pretty much volunteer run. We don't have like a paid staff or anything. So volunteers
There's
are
two
needed.
of you, right? There's
There's
staff, technically.
me.
One of you.
There's-
All right.
I'm the only paid staff at this time, but we have some volunteers who are in a leadership role.
Yep.
And but we certainly need more volunteers, and so there's several ways that people can volunteer. Certainly, we need help with the barn and the horses. Like I said, we're on 40 acres, so there's always maintenance of the barn, the fences. Something breaks, so. Maintenance help in that way, so that's great for a retired person maybe who has skills but wants a place to use them. And then also with the horses, we do need volunteers to help care for the horses, making sure they're in a safe and clean environment, and we feed them and take care of them and training them and those kind of things to make sure that they are safe. And then we have different events going on that we need help with, or with social media. We're always looking for more sponsors and fundraisers and donors, so that's certainly another aspect. And then, of course, for the session leaders. So that's an important part, as I was talking about, is the session leader is a person that would take the time to serve with one of the participants. So that would be a 90-minute time frame, but this would be a person who believes in the Lord and knows that He is their hope as well, so that we can share that, and would want to come alongside someone and use a horse to help them with whatever they're going through. So that's something that I would give the training for. But session leaders are something that we need for the summer as we start our summer session. So that could be with the children or with adults or with veterans. So yeah, I'd love to have some more veterans of who are believers who want to help and give in that way. That would be.
How long is that training for session leader?
The session, I think I did. It was about 10 different training dates. Yeah, but then they would shadow me or one of the other session leaders, and then I would shadow them before they would kind of go out on their own. So, and there's a lot of activities that we do with the horses that can help bring out some of the truth they're looking for or the answers they're looking for. What's neat about what we do at the ranch is that every session is customized and tailored to what that person needs. So it's not like we have these, the session 1 we do this, session 2 we do this.
Right.
It's more of, well, where are you at in your life? What do you need? What do you want to do today? Sometimes they, maybe we'll just give a horse a bath, or we'll groom a horse. Sometimes they'll ride a horse or help with training. So it's just dependent,
Yeah, and I'm
on
sure
that.
various people that take longer to start opening up or get to the
Right.
point where they're ready to
Right.
talk to somebody about something deep, what's going
Right.
on. So,
Yeah.
but one of the things I heard, and I hope you all heard, is that it didn't really matter what your skill level is. You could even not like horses and get involved in some
Yeah.
way.
There's other things to do.
There's skills, and if you do love horses, there's plenty of ways to
Yeah.
get involved, and
Yes.
you can start in one thing and move into something else. And I know you just moved into, you talk about 40 acres. That's fairly new for
Right.
you guys as
We've
ministry.
been there.
Right?
We've been there for a year and a half, and thankfully, it's our permanent home.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. That's the fourth location that we've been in 6 years, so we're glad to stay there. But yeah, actually, this Saturday we have a work day coming up because the horses did not have any outside shelter. We have a big barn where we take the horses inside when the weather's bad. But they have no place where they could seek shelter on their own if we weren't around, or if it's just gonna, the hail starts falling, where can they go? So we're building horse shelters, and the Lord provided the funding for the materials. We did an inspection today with the county,
Oh, good.
and we passed.
Awesome. 'Cause
So-
it was supposed to be yesterday, right?
Yes, and it
got moved to today. That's
it
good.
got moved to today, and we're all good. We're ready to put in our posts. There's 30 posts that are going to be going in on Saturday, set in cement. So we need some helpers with that. We have a few. We need a few more. We're going to provide lunch, and this is at 9 a.m. This coming Saturday. And our address is 36998 Timber Drive.
Did you get that? 36998 Timber Drive.
Timber
Right. He's gonna
Drive
put that in
in
there.
Elizabeth.
So really, from the church, you're down to County Road 21.
Yeah,
right?
go down Singing Hills to 21, turn south, which is, turn to the right.
Which is the only way you can go on 21.
Is the only way
Yeah.
you can go, so you shouldn't get too lost,
Yeah.
right? And about 4 miles down, just past 154, is Timber Lane. So you turn left on Timber Lane, and it tees into Timber Drive, and you go south on Timber Drive all the way to the end. And I should say that GPS will tell you you've arrived when you actually have not.
Keep going.
Just keep going. You just keep going all the way to it's a dead end, and it dead ends to our driveway. So
So when it tells you you're there, just keep going
just
a little
keep
bit
going,
further. Good.
right?
Good.
And then-
and so it's this Saturday at 9 o'clock,
9 a.m., right?
and you need mostly muscle.
We need some muscle, but we have some other things people could do
Right.
too. But
And on 40 acres, I can imagine social distancing is not going to be a problem.
yeah, we're gonna do the best we can to do that and to keep everyone safe and that kind of thing.
And I know two of our elders have been working closely with you all and on that project in particular, right? Will and Chris.
Yes, and Will is our head guy on the project, and he's been out there almost every day. I think he has been out there every day this
Yeah.
week preparing. He's going to be out again tomorrow. We actually could use 1 or 2 people tomorrow, Friday, if anyone's available. He's doing his best to get everything ready so that we can, just get right to it and get all those 30 posts in the cement.
You got bored teenagers at home, send them their way
That's
at 9
that's
a.m.,
right. Right.
Someone's asked, Ralph Rogers asked, what are the ministry's greatest needs at present? Which is great, because that was going to be my next question.
Oh, Ralph, thank you for asking, Ralph. Well, I think one of our greatest needs is prayer. Definitely is prayer, and we actually do have a prayer team. It's called the Prayer Posse. And if anyone would like to pray for us on a regular basis, because that's something they can do from home, it doesn't have to be at the ramp. You can just send us a text or a message or something there, and then we can add you to that. More volunteers, absolutely need more volunteers, and then funding, of course, is always a big thing. And another need that we have is we do not have a truck. So I don't know, have you ever heard of a ranch that doesn't have a truck?
I don't think I have, actually.
We don't have a truck. We have my Subaru, and so at times I'm getting feed or shavings or other things in the back of my Subaru. Yeah, right. And now we're going to do the Pony Patrol, right, where we do have a 2-horse trailer to take Hope
So have
and
you been
Annie
borrowing
out.
a truck to get horses
I
in?
have to borrow people's
Gotcha.
trucks to take Hope and Annie out. Hope and Gideon out to the community. But a truck certainly would be a big help that we have our own way to.
I love that. I love a very specific need. So let's make a truck happen. I have no idea how it's going to happen.
Yeah, we just trust the Lord for that, right?
That's my challenge to the internet world. Let's make a truck happen. If you know of a truck, now it'd be nice if it ran, right?
Oh, a running truck.
A good truck that can pull,
that can tow
at
a
least-
trailer.
at least 2 horses, right?
Yeah, and actually, I'm probably going to get a 4-horse trailer
All right.
at some point.
So pull 4, so it's got to be a decent truck,
decent truck.
probably 4-wheel truck that can do some lifting.
Right.
Some heavy, it will get good use. So if you know
Right.
someone or God just lays it on your heart, let's make that happen.
Right.
We're just going to claim this, guys. We're going to claim
Right.
the truck is going to happen before. Well, that's too long. I can't say before the month is out because that's tomorrow. How about in the next couple of weeks? How's that?
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Let me see. Let me make sure I didn't. I haven't seen. If you had any other questions, let us know. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I think a couple of people have asked. You talked about the Saturday project. All right. So, is there anything that we've missed that you want to make sure that everyone knows?
Well, yeah. So this Tuesday, May 5th, is Giving Tuesday, and so usually Giving Tuesday is like in November.
Yep.
But the Giving Tuesday organization decided that because of the virus and everything, the impact that it's had on our world, they're doing a Giving Tuesday, and they're calling it Giving Tuesday Now, which is May 5th. And so for Eagles Nest Ranch, what our response is to help as far as the virus concerned is the Pony Patrol. Is like I said, if we can't have, people have to stay in their homes or they
Yep.
can't go out, then we want to take a couple of our horses that are ministers in their own right and take them out to see people, to encourage them, to thank our healthcare workers or first responders, or to just, some people are getting depressed, staying at home and
Yes.
or lonely, like maybe they live by themselves, and so that's something that we want to do. And so our Giving Tuesday is going to be specifically to raise some funds for the Pony Patrol, so that we can, for the expenses that will be to get Hope and Gideon out there.
So, what's the best way for people to give? I assume you have a way to give online on your
Give
website.
online on our website, eaglesnestranch.org. There's ways to give there. And we will be putting up a link. We've made we've made an event page on Facebook for the Giving Tuesday day, and I will be adding a link that will go specifically to the Pony Patrol if someone wants to support that specifically, but they can support us generally through the website as well.
Okay. Or you can go old school and mail it in, right?
You can mail a check. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that works too. Yeah.
All right, we just put up the link to Eagles Nest Ranch, so that's good.
Okay.
And of course, you can find them on Facebook, like she said.
Right.
Anything else?
The other thing was Buckaroo Days. We can always use sponsors for Buckaroo Days and volunteers. We usually have about 20 to 25 volunteers on that day.
Okay.
And then so we provide training. So for anyone that wants to volunteer on a regular basis, we do periodic volunteer trainings where we tell them about the ranch, some of the procedures, and then, if they want to work with horses, then we provide some horse training. That's what we want to do some more this summer too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
I got 2 things for you before we sign off. Number 1, don't forget that this Sunday is, like we said, tomorrow is May, which means May 3rd is this upcoming Sunday, which means it's Communion Sunday. So don't forget to have your communion ready. Make sure you've got your bread, your juice, whatever you want to use for your communion for your family. And we're doing something a little special, a little different for this Sunday, so make sure that you've got that ready. So just a quick reminder. And number 2, this is kind of a good, sad thing. You're here on our very last live Q&A for a while.
Okay.
But we saved the very best for last,
thank
right?
you.
We're still going to do it occasionally on Sundays, and we may do it occasionally down the road. What did we say? Is this number 6 or 7? Somewhere in there, 6 or 7, and here's the deal. Apparently, we've run out of questions. We've answered all the Bible questions that there are, so we really haven't. But here's what we're really doing. We're looking for something. We're going to be doing something new. We're not looking for something. We know what we're going to do. We're going to be doing something new starting next week, so be looking for that coming next week. We just want to change things up a little bit. I keep hearing, I don't know if you've heard this, it's Groundhog Day, right? Well, everything that everybody's doing is starting to become Groundhog Day, so we want to switch it up a little bit. This has been a good avenue. We want to make sure that we stay fresh, and we're doing some new things. Here's the big thing that we're going to be asking is, how's your soul? and we're going to be, the next thing that we're rolling out is going to be focused on your spiritual growth. A few Sundays ago, we asked a text question, how are you doing? And I think the numbers were roughly 50 to 60%. We're saying I'm better, or at least as good as I was. Actually, I think 90% said I'm better or at least like I was, but there are about 10% that said I'm not doing as well as I was before coronavirus hit. We want to make sure everyone is drawing closer to God during this time. So be watching that this next week. This was all made sure that we stayed connected, got you to meet some people that we wouldn't normally get to meet and talk with, answer some questions that you might have. So we're going to switch gears a little bit starting next week, so be on the lookout for that. All right, Jake, did I miss anything?
Nope.
I love Groundhog Day, somebody said. I'm going to assume you're talking about the movie and not literally Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
That's Mary.
Yeah.
Mary literally loves Groundhog Day. So see, Mary, it took me a second, but you didn't even have to tell me who you were. Mary's the only one I know on the planet, but she's an evangelist for Groundhog Day. She loves the literal holiday, Groundhog Day. In fact, we got baskets for Groundhog's Day and gifts for Groundhog's Day, so now I'm starting to love it. Who doesn't love it, right? So she's talking about that, or we're just talking about that feeling of everything's happening the same way over again. So we're going to try switching things up starting next week. Susie, again, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Let me pray for you, and let me pray for all of you. Father, we just thank you for this time for us to be together. Thank you for Susie and her staff, her volunteer team, the work that they're doing, and for the way that we got to hear we've heard that story of how you've brought Eagles Nest Ranch to be. They're right here in our backyard. They are literally our neighbors, and we're so thankful for that. We're thankful for the opportunity for us to be engaged in this ministry directly. I pray for your blessings over Susie and the volunteers, over the work that they've got coming up not only this Saturday, and just pray that they'll be able to get everything done. We know the more hands we have, the better it's going to be, the more work we're going to be able to get done in a short period of time. So I just pray that this Saturday will be a blessing for her and for her team, for this ministry. Pray for this summer as things begin to change, and we continue to pray for that shift, that no events that have been scheduled, Buckaroo Days, none of the individual trainings will be affected, because this is a need in our community, and we want to make a difference to build your kingdom, to impact our community, and ultimately to change the world. And this is one of the ways that we get to be involved in helping make that happen. Father, I pray and just ask in boldness that you'll provide a truck for Eagles Nest Ranch. If you can provide 40 acres, a permanent location for them, you can certainly provide a truck. That is certainly not outside of the realm of your capability. And we're just asking that you'll lay that on somebody's heart some way, somehow, that you will provide the very thing that is needed for this ministry to continue to work, and for this new program, taking horses out into the community since people are not able to come. Father, again, I just pray for everyone that's watching, that will be watching. Pray for their health, for their encouragement. Father, you know we are not made to be isolated. We are made to need one another, to be with one another. And I just pray that will happen as quickly as it possibly can. That you'll keep us safe, that you'll encourage us, give us hope and strength from you, from a resource that is eternal. And again, just thank you for this time, this opportunity to be together, to share with one another. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
God bless you. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. See you at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, and then 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.